The O.J. Simpson trial took years to reach a verdict. The Kyle Rittenhouse and Derek Chauvin trials took months. The Carmelo Anthony trial is now over after less than a week in Texas. A very bad sign for Carmelo Anthony. A quick trial and a quick verdict means you are demonstrably guilty, and there's nothing else to debate as Carmelo Anthony declines to take the stand in his own defense, his own witnesses turning on him and getting impeached. I just can't think of it going any worse for the young teen who's raised $1 million by people who just want to see white teenagers get slaughtered for no reason, I suppose. He didn't spend any of that money on an attorney. He's using a public defender, and that public defender maybe needs to have their law license taken away. Not like I want Carmelo Anthony to have a good defense. I don't, because what he's done is indefensible. But his family stole all the money and then brought on board the stupidest attorneys who brought up witnesses who actually turned on Carmelo Anthony. So this is their defense of their client. The witnesses are being twisted into pretzels by the prosecution and getting their own testimony impeached. Always a terrible thing when your witnesses can't figure out their own story. Defense witness number 4 testimony has been impeached. The 17-year-old witness originally claimed that Carmelo Anthony was surrounded and that he witnessed Anthony reaching for him. On cross-examination, the prosecution played the surveillance video, which showed the witness had his back turned when Austin reached and Carmelo stabbed him. So the witness was lying. So it's never a good thing. The witness actually turned around after the stabbing, witnessing the commotion, called it Anthony being surrounded. The witness might explain why some people believe Anthony was jumped. He also admitted that he doesn't normally see people go into others' tents, and that Carmelo Anthony should not have brought a knife to a track meet. The only witness who claimed Carmelo Anthony was surrounded in this self-defense trial just admitted under oath that he was not surrounded and that actually he lied about witnessing anything. He had his back turned. Today, a teen says Carmelo was sitting under the tent and kids from other school surrounded him. I don't want to phrase it as surrounding, the teen said, in a reversal of his testimony, and now the defense has rested. And the state has closed their evidence. And the defense has closed their evidence. And so now closing arguments happen tomorrow, straight to a sequestered jury after that, and that's game over. I mean, you're talking about maybe the last couple hours of Carmelo Anthony being a free young man. Because a trial that goes this quickly with such nightmarish results is not going to be good. And then Carmelo refusing to take the stand. I mean, maybe you could have put him up there and he could have explained things. If he had a bunch of witnesses to back him up, he could have explained his self-defense. Why did he bring a knife? He could have given some sob story about his background or the neighborhood he grew up in. This is how you normally do these kind of things. O.J. Simpson with the glove doesn't fit. You must acquit. Nope, none of that. Carmelo Anthony has declined to take the stand. What that means is his public defender is saying, if you go up there, you're going to get destroyed. They're going to tack on another 20 years to your prison sentence. There's some rumblings about a potential plea deal, negotiations that are going on right now, where Carmelo Anthony changes his plea to guilty. Yes, I killed him. His plea is not guilty right now. And I killed Austin Metcalf. I'm sorry I did it. Please only give me 50 years instead of 99. And I want to frame this up because I already see this in the comment section. The Supreme Court decided that you can't execute young men under the age of 18, or women, but like it's always young men in these situations. Young men are just much more violent, right? Much more testosterone and much more prone to finding themselves in situations like this. I don't know why, except for, of course, we do know why. Carmelo Anthony was brain rotted by urban black rap culture that is intended on manipulating and poisoning the minds of young people. Just go listen to the words in a rap song. If somebody looks at you the wrong way, that's a death sentence. If somebody offends you, that's a death sentence. If somebody's on your block that shouldn't be, that's a death sentence. Somebody scratches your car, that's a death sentence. If somebody pushes you out of their tent, that's a death sentence, right? This is demonic, actually. But anyway, The point is that Carmelo Anthony will not be killed for this. He won't be given biblical justice, right? Old Testament justice, an eye for an eye, which would mean the end of his life. It would be the proverbial end of his life as a free man. He'll now become a ward of the state, which is so obnoxious because now we're all going to have to pay for him to eat, to sleep, and have an iPad in prison for the rest of his life. He'd get 99 years in prison. That's the maximum number of years. He's 19 years old. That means 120 until you can get out. You're dead in prison. You're going to die in prison. That's what's going to happen to Carmelo Anthony. If you do a plea deal, then you could get that knocked down to like 30, 50 years in prison, something like that, before you'd get a maximum minimum sentence and get a chance at parole. That's how this works. Anyway, the point is that I just want to frame it because everybody's saying he deserves the electric chair. I agree, but it's not. It's against the law, and that's Supreme Court law, not even the laws of Texas. And so it is what it is. Anyway, nightmare here. Horrifying minute of Carmelo Anthony's murder trial. Photos of that split America? I don't think so. There are some tribal, racial hate groups that are black that are outside of the courthouse. I'll show you some of them. They're worse. I mean, I've never seen. You hear so much about white supremacy and white hate and the KKK. I've never seen a white person behaving the way that the black people are behaving outside of Carmelo Anthony's murder trial. So truly, if there's something that has happened over the last couple of years, it's like peeled the scales off the eyes to see that there are communities in this nation, urbanized, ghettoized, racial, tribalized communities in the country that will defend any monster, anyone who commits any crime against a white person or against some other race, just out of pure racial tribalism. It doesn't. Colorblind justice doesn't exist for some people. It's horrible. I mean, the videos, the guy's saying the only good cracker is a dead cracker, and he's yelling at the cops. He's yelling at counter protesters. I mean, you don't see that ideology on the other side. And I'm against both sides. Both sides are, of course, despicable and evil and unchristian, as all men are created by God. Every horrifying minute. Carmelo Anthony murder trial that split America. Photos so graphic the jurors couldn't cope. Harrowing unseen video. New testimony from inside of the tent. All of the testimony from inside of the tent said that Carmelo Anthony is guilty as hell. Carmelo Anthony was asked 15 times to leave the tent. Carmelo Anthony was the aggressor. Carmelo Anthony was the one who brought the knife. Carmelo Anthony was there to murder and to kill. Carmelo Anthony, the defense witness who previously claimed that Anthony was surrounded, now walked back his statement, seeing footage of the event. The defense completely wrecked. Anyone with common sense can see that Anthony started the deadly situation. They even shaved his hair. They shaved his head so that he'd look younger. The only witness who initially claimed the kids ganged up on Carmelo has now impeached his testimony. This is why we have trials. Prosecution witnesses saw stabbing from 10 feet away, and the defense witnesses are like, I could kind of make it out over the horizon if I squinted. And they asked him if Anthony was surrounded, and he said yes. They'd reviewed the footage, and he changed his mind. Oof. People are still donating to Carmelo Anthony in spite of how bad the trial is going for him. You can see the give, send, go here. Carmelo Anthony has raised $625,000. It's plenty to buy a new house, some new tennis shoes, go out to Chuck E. Cheese, and that's exactly what his family is doing. Go on a Disney cruise. His family, I mean, it's repulsive. Oh, it's so sickening. Can you imagine if this was your son? Of course, you can't imagine it because you raised your children right. But this is the what happens when you sacrifice your children to a culture that is demonic and that is completely fallen off a cliff. Protect your children, please. Everybody's saying, here's what Anthony said. Without being provoked, he said, F y'all, I'm not going to leave. Touch me and see what happens. Then he calls them all a slur and says, and Metcalf said, I'm not going to fight with you. Austin Metcalf is actually the only one who deserves a stand his ground self-defense claim, as he was defending the other innocent students. Austin Metcalf is a hero. Maybe we'll fund a statue of him in Frisco. That'd be great. That'd be good use of funds, right? Yeah. Self-defense claim is absolutely falling apart. New testimony details the defendant saying, F y'all, I'm not going to leave. That's not self-defense. You have a duty to retreat in many self-defense cases to prove that you're trying to not be the aggressor or the instigator. Anyway, it's all over. There's a delay now. Some are saying the biggest question is whether Anthony will take the stand. He didn't. The biggest question now is, well, are they going to beg for mercy and sign a plea agreement before, you can't do that if the jury already gets sequestered and is deciding your fate. So if it goes this bad, that'll be the next thing you want to look for out of this trial. Will they be begging for mercy as the jury, before the jury gets sequestered tomorrow morning? They better act quick, ladies and gentlemen. It'd be nice to see some justice in our world. Please, God. If you can't win with this one, then we truly have, our justice system is entirely dead and broken and gone. So pray for justice in Texas.